On this episode of Sacred Sounds and Spaces, we will explore the traditional music of China. We're going to focus on two musical instruments in particular. The Guzheng is a stringed instrument that dates to around 200 BCE. The Dizi is a bamboo flute that goes back to at least 500 BCE. The sounds of both of these instruments are embedded in the consciousness of Chinese people everywhere. But traditional Chinese music may be at a crossroad. Although it is quintessential to Chinese culture, it is in danger of being lost. Lost to commercialism, lost to cultural imperialism, and lost to modernity. Today, on Sacred Sounds and Spaces, we'll hear from two women who have devoted their lives to both of these instruments, mastering and teaching these traditions to a new generation, while simultaneously pushing Chinese instruments and traditional Chinese music in general into the future.
All the Chinese instruments are very early to use that, just like the religion ceremony to play the music. For the very early time, like the Qing dynasty or before, like the Per-Qing, like the Tang dynasty or Song dynasty, they just service for first one for the royal. The second one is service for like the religion. The first time I did not learn in the Guzheng, I learned in the bamboo flute. It's very easy for carry, and it's cheaper. It's cheaper, and it's easy for carrying that. So also that means it's easy for you doing the practicing at home. The flute, I remember very early time. I think the very traditional Chinese music is one kind of I think maybe let me think how to say that. It's one kind of the Chinese movie you have saw in here, like the kung fu movie. Like when they start to fighting or something that, then you will hear the kind of the movie. It is very old. It is very traditional one. So when I was very young, I heard that kind of the music, but it's not a very very catch your heart. That's why I think I want to do something different.
My name is Vicky Liu. I'm currently a PhD student at the University of Georgia studying ethnomusicology. Growing up with Chinese immigrant parents, it was important for me to learn the music. It was a way for my parents to allow for me to be close to my culture while being 7,000 miles away from home. Because being in America, we're neither American, and when we're in China, we're not Chinese either. So who are we in this type of space? So those types of spaces, I actually found it to be a safe haven for me and my friends, for us to be able to build our own identity in ourselves. This is actually the more modern version display of this instrument. It originally derived from having only 5 strings to 7 strings to 11 strings to the 21 strings. There's even renditions of it having over 25 strings. They played it during farming time and peasant life. This instrument was performed all sorts of ways, and the size of it has also evolved over time as it was being performed in different spaces. So the instruments evolved outside of, it was even before the imperial space. But it really flourished mid dynastic centuries as dancers and artists became more prominent. They wanted to showcase this and represent China in its own way. It was originally in court music and played for kings. Those were people who were lowly that would go perform these types of pieces. And then now, as it's evolved, it's still embedded within the culture, but now I think as Westernization has come in, this instrument has just been known as something that's more of a classic. It's very difficult for a lot of Chinese musicians currently to be able to break outside of that mold, because the way that we're trained is to be extremely disciplined in only our Chinese traditional instruments. I wasn't able to find out, wow, I can improv on this instrument, I can do jazz, I can play with these different types of musical traditions and embed them into my instrument. as a musician, our role is to break out of the mold, break out of the box, and allow this instrument to be engulfed into this melting pot idea. It can be more than just what it is seen. It looks Chinese, but it can play things that are way outside of that mold.
I'm afraid of my two teachers because they are very famous and very traditional, and they are very, the masters doing this instrument. The first time I tried to play in the pop song, the professor, they just think about why you just destroy the rules, why you try to doing this, why you try to do that. Nobody try to doing like this, and also you created a sound, and you try to play in the Western. Playing the Western sound that time is not very popular in the mainland China, so I'm afraid. So that, and he just talked to me, and then finally I'm so lucky. Just my teacher was very open mind, so he was like, "You think I don't understand? I understand it because the instrument should be developed." So for him, he is doing the education too. So he think it's not easy for doing the education because the students don't love it. They cannot understand it. They will not learning it. When they start to love it, and they will try to learning it, and then they can understand it.
So for me, I think when it comes to creating musical compositions as a modern musician that plays Chinese instruments, our goal is to be able to meld into any space that we put ourselves into. Like if we were to play piazzolla with guzheng and guitar, our goal is that the guitar and the guzheng mesh beautifully together. But I think also part of it is to still remain and keep the essence of the quality of the guzheng. So though we can change the tone quality, the techniques should remain the same. That's what gives the instrument its specialty. So it's not losing its identity. We're not giving it a new identity, or we're giving it a new identity of being able to do all these fusionistic things, but still having the essence of that Chinese sound and quality from within.
Before I go into Atlanta, I am teaching in Shanghai. So, a lot of the kids like the middle school, so they already start to heard a lot of kind of the J-pop, K-pop. The K-pop is already very famous. It's very, very famous in that time. So the kids already start to hear something. The beat is very quick and they can have the passion over there. So when first time I just showed them the traditional sound, I saw the face, the emotion. I think it's not very funny things to the kids. It's not be very quickly to make them can focus on the sound because they cannot understand it. The sound is too old. They will think we cannot understand it. So the pop song can make a lot of person can understand it because if you cannot hear the melody, you can follow the beat. Somebody don't love the beat, somebody can follow the melody. So which one you can find at which point you can focus on that. But the traditional sound is too old and it's too, it's like sit over there. Too many rules over there. So the kids will think like that, oh, this kind of the instrument should go on the stage. So it's not very closer to our life.
I think as Chinese musicians in the United States, we face that type of tough decision. Do we fuse or do we not fuse? It's a very big question because we want to be relevant. We want to bring known to this instrument, but at the same time, we don't want to lose part of its identity. And I think part of it is as musicians, we need to find our own essence within this Chinese instrument and keep it the same. Everybody's essence is going to be different to why they're tied to the instrument. But I think wholeheartedly, as we start to fuse, the important thing is what happens after the performance or what happens before the performance. Program notes are going to be important as you try to talk about the importance of this instrument and where it sits within this fusion mix. Or even after performances, when you talk to audiences, they go, wow, this instrument, I didn't realize it does rock. And you go, well, it does rock, but it also does all of these different things. But at the end of the day, it is a Chinese instrument and it encaptures Chinese culture. Though I'm playing Stevie Wonder or Bon Jovi, I could be playing all these people, but at the end of the day, it is a Chinese instrument that's being able to do all these things, not the Chinese instrument becoming what they think it is.
I will not always try to play the traditional one. For me, every time you just play this one, it's very good. It's very inner peace, the sound. But sometimes we need to have the passion, including like the lifetime. You need to have some passion. So the music should have some passion too.
All right, Panda Fest Atlanta, are you ready? Grab your food, grab your drink, come over to the entertainment stage, and give it up for the Magic Eastern Ensemble!
So they have the Panda Festival, they have 3 days. So today we start to doing the Chinese traditional performance in here. And they all kind of the Asian food, Asian culture, not just the Chinese, and there are a lot of like the Japan, the Korea, and Vietnamese and the Laos, I think a lot of. So today is the first day, so we already finished our performance on the stage, and so we can show like the pop song, like the China style pop song and the Western pop song, and also I just wrote the song, so we already finished that. And tomorrow and the other day we were just doing like the 3 days shows in here, and every day we were just like doing the mini concert, like the 1 hour, yeah. So I think here was a lot of person will coming here because it's the biggest like the Asian festival in here. It's a Panda Festival, and I have a lot of the cute things like the panda, and the logo is so cute, and and they will have the K-pop dancer and the other kind of singer, the other kind of the performance in here. So it's like, yeah, very funny.
Okay, we finished all the sounds. Thank you so much. I enjoyed that. Thank you. See you tomorrow. Bye. Enjoy your food time.
I'm seeing this as a Chinese American that is performing this instrument. I find it as a sacred space. It's a sacred sound. When I hear a Guzheng anywhere that I go, wow, that is something that reminds me of home. And it's not just for Chinese Americans, but even for immigrants that come into the United States, especially my mother. No matter the level of somebody, when we go to New York, to Central Park, we hear erhus that are being played in the park. And that sound is sacred to us because it reminds us of home. It reminds us of our culture as we're so far away from it. So I think that's the way that I'm actually defining what sacred sounds is that it's a special connection, a bond that you have to your culture without, you could be close to it or far away from it, but it's something that ties you to who you are.